Since Huntsville Council recently voted against the additional parking at Rivermill Park, a public meeting will soon be set up to get input on where the town can add more parking. Council also made the decision to cover the parking space at Rivermill Park that leads to the water with green space. Councillor Bob Stone says it is going to negatively affect business, but there are some solutions he'd like to see happen to help until more parking can be made.
Now, one thing that the BIA board has decided would help this situation in the interim until we can find more spaces is to delineate and paint, basically identifying the spots in the back streets and then encouraging the business owners and the employees to park away from the downtown, leaving the spots open for tourists.
One of the parking options that was discussed at council last week was to add more parking on High Street by making it a one-way.
And by doing that, you reduce the width of the road and we can have angled parking all along High Street, just behind the town hall. According to Jason Krenicki, it looks like we could get as many as 40 spaces there. That would be a great addition to the downtown for parking. And we can make sure hopefully the employees and the employers park back there, leaving the Main Street and Rivermill Park parking for the people we want, the shoppers we want downtown.
Stone was one of 3 councillors who voted in favor of the extra parking at Rivermill. Councillor Nancy ALCOCK says she understands there is a need for more parking in Huntsville, but Rivermill Park was not the place to have it.
Everybody around the table would agree that Rivermill Park is one of our jewels. It's a jewel in our community. Even those who wanted more parking still believe it's a jewel in our community. So what makes it a jewel? Well, I'd say that from my perspective, it's the ability to access the waterfront in town. Isn't that cool? And it's the ability to have major functions on grass in town. And so the idea of putting parking and having to use up more of our green space, which we don't have a lot of in town, just didn't make sense to me. It also is contrary to existing plans that we have. We have something called the Community Improvement Plan. I know it was done in 2010, but the design guidelines in that are still extremely relevant today, and it didn't talk about increasing the parking in that area.
The date for the public meeting has not been set yet, but both councillors ALCOCK and Stone are encouraging residents to take the time to come out and share your ideas.